So first thing, I need to start off by saying that I'm not making this video just to hate on the game and complain about it only for the sake of complaining. I genuinely do enjoy this game and have a ton of fun playing it. It's a very refreshing take on an FPS game and something that we haven't had in a very long time, but it also has some very glaring issues that I feel are holding the game back significantly, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. I know it's a relatively new and smaller development team on a game with a new engine, so there's bound to be some problems. This video is just kind of meant to be constructive criticism on what I think and also a lot of other players in the community think. This video idea was actually given to me by a viewer in my last video, so shout out to them for the good idea, but I just want to get right into it. The first problem, and the one I see as the biggest, is how the matchmaking works in this game. If you guys didn't know, this game doesn't matchmake you based on your visible rank. It matches you based on your hidden MMR, which means that you could be bronze or silver, but if you're even close to average, you're gonna have decent MMR and you'll be thrown into the higher tier lobbies where you'll consistently see diamonds and top 500 players. This has been my experience ever since I started my ranked grind. Even from my very first game in bronze, I've been going against diamond and top 500 3 stacks every single game, even while I was at the very lowest rank. This has been a similar experience for a lot of other players as well. This is also similar to the way that Apex does their ranked matchmaking, and we all see how Apex is doing right now. That game is at one of the lowest points that it's ever been, and there are very few people who actually enjoy that rank system. You literally have one of the best pro players in the game, Sweet, struggling solo in silver and gold because he's constantly put against the top 500 players, and that's exactly how it works in the finals as well. Your visible rank means literally nothing. All your value lies in a hidden number that uses bullshit algorithms to matchmake you to prioritize engagement over actually having a good ranked experience. It makes me think, what's the point in actually grinding to get a high rank if I'm already playing with and also beating these very high ranked top 500 players? I'm basically already one of them. I just don't have a shiny logo next to my name like they do. I'm sure you guys have all had this experience too. Even if you're not that good of a player, if you have maybe 1 or 2 good games, those 1 or 2 good games are going to boost your MMR significantly and you'll instantly be thrown to diamond and top 500 3 stacks. And it literally doesn't matter at all what your rank is. You could be bronze and you will still be matched against the highest ranked players in the game. Another thing is, if you solo or if you duo stack, the random teammates you get are going to be nowhere near your skill level for the most part. Sure, there is the rare occasion where I get a good random, but most of the time it feels like the matchmaking just throws whoever they can in there. It's pretty normal for me to get a random who will do like 500 damage for a total round. Just so obvious that he doesn't belong in these lobbies, but he probably had like 1 or 2 good games that boosted his MMR up and put him in a skill bracket that he should be nowhere near. The matchmaking is just so bad and all over the place right now. This is one thing I hope that they fix pretty fast because it's really killing my motivation to grind ranked. I don't have as much time as a lot of these top 500 players who can just sit on the game for 8 hours a day and mindlessly grind ranked. It's just not possible for me to do that, and I'm sure it's that way for most of you guys too. But if I did have that amount of time to put into ranked, it would be so easy to actually climb and get a high rank, because that's another bad thing about this kind of rank system, is that it rewards time put in over actual skill. They need to make the rank matchmaking actually based on your rank, or if they want to keep this stupid hidden MMR system, then it needs to boost your rank faster and get you to the rank that you should actually be in. Because when I was silver and gold fighting in top 500 lobbies and winning the entire game only to get 650 points against some of the highest rank and best players in the entire game, it just feels like a total waste of time. I don't know, I could just talk about this so much. There's so many things wrong with the rank system right now, but I'm gonna leave it at that and go on to the next issue, and that's gonna be the cheaters and hackers. I shake in fear anytime I load into a game and see a full team of Chinese players, because I had an experience where 3 games in a row I had a team like that, all Chinese letter names, and all 3 of them were aimbotting and shooting people across the map. There was literally nothing I could do, and that happened 3 games in a row in ranked. That doesn't happen all the time. I usually run into at least 1 or 2 a day, and some people experience it a lot more than I do. Some people get really unlucky and run into way more cheaters. I understand that it's probably a little bit hard for them to keep up with it being holiday time, the smaller development team on a newer game. I get it. It'll take time for them to figure out the anti-cheat. It's just so hard nowadays because cheats are so prevalent and always evolving. The market for them is huge. I'm sure that they understand and they're working on it. So I'm going to go into the next issue, which are just general balancing issues. We all know invisibility is very strong right now. And would it be best for them to just completely take it out of the game to focus on competitive integrity and a balanced experience? Yeah, obviously, but this game isn't necessarily built around that. It's also built to have an element of fun around it. So nerfing a lot of these things that people consider to be cheap playstyles just isn't really in the cards for this kind of game. So maybe just make the audio a little bit more clear and maybe make it slightly easier to see, because in its current state, I do think it is a little bit too strong. There isn't much counterplay unless you're running recon, and it also probably feels a little strong right now because the audio in this game isn't too good. So it can be kind of hard to pick up on that audio cue sometimes. And we all know the double barrel shotgun is just insane right now. It can 2-tap any class in the game, and it is very forgiving. You don't have to hit your shots perfectly to get kills on lights and mediums. I think nerfing the range just a little bit and turning that damage down just ever so slightly so that you do have to have really good aim with it to get value would be a good balance for that. Another one, and this is probably the most hated one that I've seen, is the heavy nuke. If you guys don't know what nukes are, it's when you strap a C4 to any kind of throwable and you throw that at them and detonate it, and it's basically just a free kill 90% of the time. This is something that's very unfun to play against. There's not much counterplay. Sure, if you see him coming across the map early, you can shoot it, but that's just not really what happens most of the time. Do I wish that they would take that ability out of the game to just one-shot someone with no skill? Obviously, yeah, that would be the best thing for competitive integrity, but as I said earlier, this game isn't built for that. There does have to be some sort of quirkiness and fun to it, so there needs to be some sort of a compromise with the ability. I saw a really good suggestion somewhere on Reddit, I think, and they suggested that making the C4 weigh it down a lot more so that when you throw it, it travels a lot slower. That would be a very welcome change for me. I think also adding an animation to when you pull out the C4 that adds a small delay so you can't detonate it immediately after you throw it would be a good idea. It'd make you have to think a little bit more on how far you can throw it from. You can't just run up to someone's face and throw a nuke right at them and get a free kill, or even just make it to where you can only throw one C4 at a time. There's a few different things that they could do with this. In the RPG, just make it do 149 damage. There's no reason to make it do 150. That leaves almost no counterplay for light players, and if you do get hit for 149 with an RPG, chances are you're gonna die anyways, but this would just add some slight outplay ability to it. I think the invincibility frames on defib might be a little bit too high right now. It's a little bit too forgiving. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's when you defib somebody and they don't take any damage for a set amount of time after they've been rezzed. I think maybe toning that down just a little bit because defib as it is already so strong, and also maybe tune the healing beam down just a little bit. And then the last thing for balancing issues I want to talk about is just the medium recon. The medium recon gives you wall hacks and lets you see everybody on the map, but it's not like the recon grenade to where you can see when you're being scanned. I wish that you did have something that popped up on the screen when you're being scanned by the medium recon, because as it is right now, I think it's just a little bit too strong. It wouldn't really make recon any weaker. It would really just help you be more aware and add a small element of counterplay to it. Those are my thoughts on some things that I'd like to see changed balance wise. Next thing I want to talk about is the FPS issues and just general game stability issues. So my game ran so much better in the beta compared to full release. Just for some context, I have a 5800X and 3080 Ti. I have very tuned RAM. It's overclocked. I have the timings tightened. Same thing with my CPU. It's overclocked, undervolted, GPU overclocked as well, but I still struggle to get good frames in this game, especially when there's a lot of destruction going on. This game takes almost no advantage of my GPU. Your GPU almost doesn't even matter in this game. A good CPU is going to take you so far. So I think that a couple of performance patches would go a very, very long way, especially for those of you on lower end hardware, because I know that this game can be very hard to run. Another thing, the crashing. I'm sure so many of you guys have got an Angel Script call stack. If not that one, then one of the several other ones that's been going around. Some people can't even open the game without running it in DirectX 11, which just destroys your performance. I said this earlier, it is a small dev team on a new engine. I'm sure they're probably aware of these issues, and it will take a little bit of time for them to figure out these issues and resolve them, but I still wanted to include it anyways because I feel like it's a big issue. The next thing is the forced anti-aliasing and upscaling in this game. I absolutely hate using anti-aliasing. It makes the game just look so blurry for me, makes it really hard to see things, and can often give me a headache sometimes because I am very sensitive to this kind of blur, specifically with temporal anti-aliasing, which is what this game uses. DLSS implementation in this game is awful. It makes things really blurry. There's a ton of ghosting, and it makes things really hard to see at a range. FSR2 isn't bad, but I don't need the game to upscale. I just need to be able to run it at my native resolution. XCSS in this game is god awful. This has even more ghosting than DLSS. So I just really hope in the future that they give us an option to turn this off, and you can get around this with certain sharpen filters, but it's still not as good as just running your game at its native resolution with no anti-aliasing. And my last issue with the game itself is that we need separate scope sensitivities or just more sensitivity options in general, because the ones we have right now don't really offer much customization. You're really locked into a slower ADS sense unless you want to turn off the focal scaling, but then you'll be left with a really fast sniper sensitivity. I've seen some people with this issue as well, but I know a lot of people just don't even notice it. They don't care. And the very last thing that I want to talk about in this video is just the Twitch viewership. For a brand new game that has this much excitement around it, I see so many people saying how much they love this game, how fun it is to play, but the Twitch numbers just aren't really reflecting that, and it kind of worries me a little bit for the longevity of the game. I know Twitch numbers don't necessarily mean everything. The game still does relatively well on YouTube, but for a brand new game with this much excitement, I don't know, I would just expect to see more. This game usually hovers around like 10k viewers. It'll drop a little bit lower at night times when there's not that many people on, or if there's a big streamer playing it, it might go up to 20k, but still that's pretty low for a new game with this many players. Maybe it's sort of like an Overwatch scenario where the game has a ton of players, but they'd all just rather play the game than actually watch it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. If you guys enjoy just playing the game over actually watching it, but boosting that Twitch viewership would be so beneficial for the game. It would get more eyes on it, it would bring new players in, and it would help grow the community. So I'd like to see them maybe do some more drops on Twitch, you know, like some skins, emotes, charms, literally everything. They could do all of that. And I know that's kind of an artificial way to boost the numbers, but still it would work by getting more eyes on the game. But yeah, that's about it for all of my big issues with the game right now. If you guys have any other issues that I didn't mention, please leave them in a comment below. I'm really looking forward to see what you guys have to say about all this. If you guys did enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like and a comment. It helps out so much. And if you guys want to see more finals content in the future, make sure you subscribe. I upload a couple of times a week. And lastly, if you guys want to see me play live, the link to my Twitch is down below, and I stream a few times a week. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.